Among the 7 Canadian teams playing in the National Hockey League, where would you rank the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, they finished 6th among the 7 Canadian teams last season. The only team that was worse was Ottawa. I think they've definitely moved up. Toronto, I still think is the best Canadian team out there. They have that offensive firepower. There's still some question marks on defense and goaltending. Edmonton with Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. So I think the Canadiens slot in behind those two. Vancouver and Calgary in that mix also, but the Canes are much more competitive than they were last season, obviously, or should be much more competitive than they were last season when the Ottawa Senators were the only Canadian team that was worse.
And I'd move them in the middle of the pack, with the changes they've made. Again, I'm always, one to look at. Let's see how the season goes. Let's see how these guys can perform. And again, if it's a condensed season, you've got a whole different feel, in how the game is going to be played and how these guys are going to be able to handle possibly 4 or 5 games, in a week. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go, but there's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of areas. But one thing for sure is the Canadiens have moved up the ladder with their acquisitions in a number of the positions.
And that's just it. They're trending upwards when it comes to comparing them to last season among the Canadian teams. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how certain players react when next season is able to begin, how they'll be able to get back into it after a long layoff. And will it be different if the players don't want to do a bubble system again? And if they will be creating a Canadian conference for the meantime with no travel between Canada and the US being allowed. So there's a lot of outside factors going into next season. So we'll see how all the other teams react to that, something that they never had to do before the pandemic began.
Well, Jess, I think you're right. I mean, with the way the COVID-19 situation is going, I think there will most likely be a Canadian division if or when the NHL starts back up. I don't think the NHL, the players, or governments are going to want players flying back and forth across the border. And I think with an all-Canadian division, I think the schedule could be set up similar to baseball, where the Canes would go to Edmonton and play 2 or 3 games there over a 5 or 6 day span, then go to Vancouver, play 2 or 3 games there, and vice versa with those teams coming to Montreal. That would cut back on the travel going back and forth. The teams could stay in sort of a mini bubble while they were in those cities with the hotel and the rink. So I can see that being the way the NHL can work this going forward. But again, playing in front of empty arenas financially, I'm still not certain how well that would work for the NHL.
I'd love to see a Canadian division. I think that seems like the most realistic plan when it comes to rolling the NHL during COVID. And I think it would also be really exciting to create some new divisions and new rivalries within Canada.
It would also be fun. Imagine like the Leafs coming to town for a week. Be like a mini playoff series, right? Or the Canadiens going to Toronto. You'd have the Leafs playing here on like Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday or something like that. And then the Habs going back to Toronto. So it would be interesting and fun, I think, to watch, and I think it's something that the NHL is going to have to do, actually.
Yeah, it'd be great. We'd have a lot of annoying Toronto fans in our city getting drunk for a week. That would be thrilling. All right, go to hockeyinsideout.com now and check out this week's full episode.